All right, so we're going to start our next unit. We're going to be talking about similarity. We're going to start with ratios and proportions today. You should have your vocabulary sheet that we gave out in class. You're going to want to, as we get to proportions, write down that information so that you have it for you. Remember, that's something you can use on your tests, and so you want to make sure that you keep that current, and you can use it on any quizzes as well so you have your information. So our topic today is ratios, and proportions. Remember to put your full name, your class, and add your row on here so you can get your work back as soon as possible and the date. So we're going to start with the notes of what a ratio is, and hopefully this is something that you kind of recall. Ratio is simply anything that can be written as a fraction, basically, but it's a comparison, and that's what we're going to be doing with it, comparison of two or more quantities. Okay, we're going to start with regular ratios with 2. So you can represent it as in verbal form, A to B. You can represent it as written with a colon, A to B, or as a fraction, A over B. Any of those can be considered ratios, and they can be simplified and should be simplified. Okay, so if you have a ratio that can be simplified, it should be done in order to be 100% correct. Okay, now here is an example here to the side. And we're looking in this example, music stores 40 trumpets, 39 clarinets, 24 violins, 51 flutes, and 16 trombones. Give each as a simplified ratio. So we're looking at trumpets to violins. Okay? So what we want to do, and in ratios, just give it the information it asks for. It's very simple, and if you just write down the numbers they ask you for, then you've got your ratio started. So they're asking us for trumpets, and that's 40. And then they ask for violins, and that's 24. So you write it just like we did here. A to B is A over B. Trumpets to violins, trumpets over violins. Okay? Now, it can be simplified. And so you look in that, what number can go into both of those? Well, right off the top of my head, I see a 4 there. 4 goes into 40, 4 goes into 24. That's going to give me 10 over 6. I think it can be simplified further. Those are both even numbers, which means I can divide them by 2. So that's going to give me 5 over 3. And that would be my simplified ratio. And then you guys need to finish those 3 problems as part of your classwork and homework. And then when we have extended ratios, because we did say it could be 2 or more, so an extended ratio is a comparison of 3 or more quantities. Okay? And then it's written this way, A to B to C. Now typically when you have an extended ratio, you're taking something that you know, and you're saying that you have this many parts and that many parts, and then how would we figure out what each one is? So for example, number 5 says the ratio of 2 complementary angles is 3 to 7. So complementary angles means it's going to equal 90 degrees. And one of them has 3 parts and the other has 7 parts. So those together are going to be 3x plus 7x. Okay? And then you would add the variables. You're just going to solve it like an algebra problem. 10x equals 90. And then we divide by 10. So x equals 9. So we have 3 parts of 9. So that's 3 times 9, which equals 27. And then we have 7 parts of 9. 7 times 9 equals 63. Because they're asking for the measures of those angles. So those would be your measures, 27 and 63. Okay? So I want you to try number 6. Remember, look at this supplementary. That's 180. You want to remember that. And then we have some that have the extended ratio. So let's look at number 7. It's saying the ratio of the measure of the angles in this triangle is 4 to 7 to 9, and find the measures and angles. Now, we know that all of the angles of a triangle are going to add up to be 180. Okay, so remember that. And again, since we have this, 4x, 4 parts of the number, 7 parts of a number, plus 9 parts of a number are going to equal 180. So if you add those, 11 plus 9 is 20x. And then I divide by 20. And so x again equals 9. Must be your favorite number. So 4 times 9 is 36. 7 times 9, 63. And 9 times 9, 81. And those would be our 3 angles. Okay? So that's how you do the ones with more than one. If you look on the back, there's a couple more. You'll want to finish those as well, numbers 9 and 10. And then we are getting to the proportion. Now remember, this is the one that is on your vocabulary sheet, so you want to make sure you get this down so you can put it on there. And a proportion is an equation that states two ratios are equal. Okay? Oh, there's no way there. Okay? Two ratios are equal. It's written as A over B equals C over D, two ratios. And hopefully you remember about your cross product or your cross multiplication rule. We would multiply A times D equal to B times C. All right? So if I'm looking at my sheet, my vocabulary sheet, it would say right here that same thing. It's an equation making two ratios equal, and I'm going to set them equal to each other, and then I'm going to multiply across, and that's what I'm going to get when I use the proportion equations. So this would be an important thing to have on your vocabulary sheet as well as in the practice notes. All right, so let's try a couple. The first one, let's put it a little bit closer. My shadow's bugging me. Here we go. The first one, we're going to do this cross product. 4 times 7 equals 2x, 2 times x. So we're going to be multiplying, or excuse me, dividing by 2. 2 goes into 4 twice. So 2 times 7 gives me 14. So x equals 14. Now, if you prefer to say 4 times 7 is 28, 28 divided by 2 is 14, that's fine. I just choose to go with those easier numbers. A lot of our proportions are going to have a ratio with a monomial in it, or an algebraic expression. So in this case, we're going to do the same thing. We cross multiply. 19 times x minus 1 equals 6 times 13. 6 times 13 is 78. We distribute 19x minus 19. Okay, we're distributing algebraic work here. We're going to add 19. We're going to add 19. We get 19x equals 97. Okay, divide by 19, divide by 19, and so x equals 5.1. You have to pop out a calculator. Okay, and that would be your answer. Now, my preference is for you to be able to do this because you don't always have a calculator available. But at the very minimum, you need to know how to use a calculator, and now is the best time to start getting one because so that you can use it in class and on your homework, because this stuff will lead into your trig functions, which you're also going to need for a calculator. So be thinking about that. So you're going to want to finish up all of these that we haven't done. All right. And then those will be your class and homework. You'll want to turn those in. I'll get them back to you quickly. This is how you show your work. So be sure that you're showing your steps like this. If it's single one, it should be like this. If it's an expression in it, you should at least do that. I want to see your algebra steps so that I know that you're on the right track. And if you're not, we can get that fixed before it becomes an issue. Okay? So finish those up, and I will see you in class. Be sure to ask questions if you have them.